Rams here. They traded for Jalen Ramsey midway through last season, sending 2 first-round picks to the Jags for the All-Pro corner. Now Ramsey getting ready to enter the final year of his contract, and some expected him maybe to hold out for a long-term deal. Ramsey, however, says not going to happen. In or out, the Rams should give Ramsey an extension before the season begins.
I'm going to say out of bounds of this, BT, only because you go look at the Rams' finances right now. They are minus $1.5 million over the cap. So they don't have any cap space, so I don't know how they're going to get this done. Now, they could probably put, by extending his deal or doing something creative, they could take away his $13.5 million number and lessen it and spread it out a little bit. But I think when you are that tight to the cap, it's really hard to start doling out expensive deals. And Jalen Ramsey is that type of corner that deserves an expensive deal. So I'm going to say out of bounds. But it sounds like they're okay. You know what I mean? It sounds like he's okay with it, and he might be on the same page, so it doesn't necessarily matter that much.
You know, I'm still going to try to get this done before the season begins, personally. I'm going to say in bounds to this year. Now, where's that money come from? Well, Whitworth is, I mean, how many more years can Whitworth play left tackle?
What is he, 39?
I mean, he's 39. He's right there. I'm a little surprised he came back this year. Good for the Rams, but eventually that expires. It is what it is. So you could save some money there. You know, Brandon Cooks is gone. A year later, it'll be less punitive. I think their contract situation is going to be a little better for sure next year.
Next year it clears us significantly.
Yeah, I mean, so the timing would say do it next year. I guess I'm just married to the concept. You gave up 2 first-round picks, and I believe a middle-rounder as well, but at least 2 first-rounders to get Jalen Ramsey. The motivation doesn't have to be there because he said that he's going to show up no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to take care of this, though, and then worry about some other stuff later. I hear you. I'll say inbound. John Wall hasn't played in the NBA for more than a year. Last suited up for the Wizards back in October 2018. And now the former first overall pick out of Kentucky says he's ready to get back on the court and start hooping. Wall's ready to come back. He's a 5-time All-Star, but he's played only 173 games the past 3 seasons. I mean, you play 246 if everything was so. 173 out of 246, not a good ratio. John Wall can still be a high-level all-star caliber player. In or out?
I'm going to say out of bounds of this because it's caveat. It's 2-part here. High level, I think maybe he could play at a high level. All-star, I don't think that he's going to be able to keep up any longer. There's already some veteran, big-time scorers in the NBA that are, and I know we're mostly positionless as it pertains to the All-Star, but there's some young players that are on the come that are going to take those positions. It's not
young.
Exactly. It's not Doncic. It's not conference specific any longer.
Yep.
So, but I still can't see how he makes the All-Star consistently going forward. So out of bounds.
John Wall is shooting 43% overall for his career, and John Wall is shooting a pretty ghastly 32% from downtown for his career. So I ask you, what is his best attribute before the injury? Speed.
Athleticism, speed, yeah.
He may have been, and I've said a few times on the show, I actually think at one point it was true. He was the quickest from end line to end line, 94 feet. Nobody got down there quicker. So, and that's what made him borderline great. Not quite great, but a high-level all-star based on the question. No, out of bounds. I mean, so you take away his most athletic trait, and now you force him to do things that he's not above average at. Just use your head, common sense. I mean, come on. So, nope, I'm going to say out of bounds. I don't see it. Baseball, the Players Association complains about the latest proposal by the owners and the sliding scale. Tiki and I talked about this to start the show. Minor league players are getting screwed as well. Minor league players, as we know, there's been a fight for increased salaries to get some concessions. This year they got some, actually, but still receive just $400 a week during the season, depending upon the level. Now the Oakland A's have told their minor leaguers that they will not get paid after May, and worse yet, can't play for other teams, so they're trapped. And without money, I don't really know how you work on your skill.
Yeah.
One baseball writer did the math. If the A's paid every minor leaguer their typical $400 a week through August, it would cost the team just $1 million, a mere pittance for a professional outfit. In or out, the commissioner's office should force all teams to continue paying minor leaguers during the pandemic.
I'm going to say out of bounds because it's too blanket of a stadium, but from the A's standpoint, they should do the right thing here. I mean, they're exceedingly becoming, like, I don't know, they're becoming exceedingly cheap, right? They're not paying their rent because what the heck, they don't care. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, BT. Kick us out, you know.
What are you gonna do?
Kick us out. We don't want to be there anyways.
All right, you already lost the other tenant.
I know, right? We're good. And now you're not paying your players. It doesn't sit well. Not that matters when you get back to baseball. I'm sure all will be forgiven, and you'll go do play the game like it's supposed to be played. But it just feels wrong right now. I'm going to say out of bounds because I don't think you can make a blanket statement like that.
I'm going to say in bounds here. There's just got to be some common sense, and sometimes you just got to do the right thing. I mean, this is. It's not like we're saying they should double their, like, say if there was no pandemic, in the middle of a season, double their wage or add, 20%. No, I mean, we're not saying that. What we're saying is just react to the times. I mean, those are relatively lean wages. And if you can't play for another team, they're not letting you do that. They're trapping you. Again, I don't know how you possibly pay to work on your skills because you're going to have to make rent, so you're going to have to do something else. It's a bad situation that is easily avoidable. $1 million? Cut the damn check. Stop being cheap. That's pathetic. The Derby, Kentucky Derby, usually runs in early May, but was postponed until September due to the pandemic. Now the favorite to win, a Bob Baffert-owned horse named Charlatan, has tested positive for the banned substance lidocaine after winning the Arkansas Derby. Now, a second sample will be taken, and if positive, will strip Charlatan of the Arkansas Derby title. But would still be the door open for the horse to run in the Triple Crown. So you get the strip, but you can still compete. We all remember Justify, another Baffert horse who won the crown back in 2018, failed the drug test just weeks before the Derby, but was allowed to run anyway. So, horses who test positive at any point during the year should not be allowed to run the Triple Crown, even if subsequent tests come back negative.
I'm going to say out of bounds of that one, BT, because sometimes these positive tests aren't necessarily positives. And so if you get banned, unless they change the banning rule, so if you get a positive test, it's like Major League Baseball. You're suspended for 80 games or whatever the number may be. So unless you get a positive test and you're suspended for a certain amount of months, I think it's there's too many variables here. And ultimately, you might end up hurting horses' abilities to run if things come back. You get a false positive. So I'm going to say out of bounds that one.
I was leaning towards inbounds, but I'm going to actually pivot. I'm going to go out of bounds as well. Listen, if you get pinched in baseball, you get X amount of games. You get pinched in the NBA, you get X amount of games. I mean, there should be some sort of delineation where what I would say is if it was very close to the race, to one of the legs of the Triple Crown, then they would be banned from that particular race. So whatever you want to make it a month, or whatever, I'll let people who run racing actually come up with that time frame. But if you get pinched, let's say from a month in, and it's the Preakness, you know what? You can't race in the Preakness. It's just not. So there's ways to do this where you do the right thing, you penalize the horse and the owners and the trainers for cheating.